Imagine arriving home, and as you open the front door, the Archangel Gabriel and Virgin Mary are right in your own living room. That is the miracle that is the subject of the Mérode Altarpiece. As a work of devotional art, this altarpiece visually establishes a connection between the eternal sacred and the viewer's ordinary experience. This magnificent painting is by Robert Campin, a Netherlandish artist who is also known as the Master of Flemish. The modest size of this altarpiece, which is roughly 2 feet by 4 feet, reflects the fact that it was created for domestic use. The center panel depicts Gabriel's arrival from heaven. An extinguished candle suggests the angel has just appeared. Mary is absorbed in reading a sacred text. Seated on the floor as a sign of her humility, she seems to be as yet unaware of Gabriel. What is particularly unusual about this painting of the Annunciation is that the sacred encounter is depicted as taking place in a secular space. In 15th century Flemish painting, such as this work at the National Gallery of Art by Jan van Eyck, the Annunciation was more typically set in a church or devotional space. Instead, Campin portrays Mary at home. If this work was intended for domestic display, the painting's living room setting corresponds to its private devotional use. The figures, the room, and all of its contents are depicted in exquisite detail. Several art historians have proposed that these motifs all have symbolic meaning. For example, the scroll and open book on the table represent a transition from the Old to the New Testament. Campin's strategy of disguised symbolism erases the distinction between the sacred and the secular as categories of reality. This is a theme perfectly suited to the subject of Christ's incarnation. While scholarly attention to this symbolism adds rich layers of visual theology to Campin's intricate realism, there is also a benefit to looking at this image at face value. If the incarnation is the miracle of God taking on human form, the depiction of the Annunciation as a domestic event is certainly appropriate. By contextualizing the biblical event in a contemporary setting, Campin's work reinforces the purpose of devotional art, which is to make the sacred more immediately accessible to the viewer. This meticulous depiction of the Annunciation is the center panel of a triptych. A triptych is a painting, often an altarpiece, that has 3 parts. The right panel depicts Joseph in his carpenter's workshop, a scene that is filled with symbol-laden iconography. The left panel, which may have been painted by an assistant in Campin's workshop, includes portraits of the patron and his wife. The kneeling woman holds a rosary, a symbol of her piety. The man has removed his hat at the sight of this sacred moment. The open door suggests a visual connection from the patron's point of view between the garden and the living room. This triptych visualizes a reciprocal relationship between sight and faith. This devotional triptych is known as the Mérode Altarpiece. The Mérode family were the altarpiece's last private owners. The painting's title recalls its history of personal devotional use. We can imagine this beautiful altarpiece residing in someone's home as an aid to their spiritual meditation and prayer. Perhaps the altarpiece was set up so that as the door to the room or the home was opened, this image of the Annunciation was immediately visible. In this scenario, the patron's spiritual wonderment depicted in the painting would be realized in actual experience. Now displayed in an intimate-sized gallery at the cloisters, this devotional triptych cultivates the modern viewer's personal experience of the sacred. Year after year, Advent after Advent, the Mérode Altarpiece continues to bring the Annunciation home.